A place where seniors are the ones showing kindness to kids sounds surprising, right? After 3 years in Germany, I've really come to feel that this is such a child friendly society. When I'm out with my kids, it's often the older generation who go out of their way to be sweet and caring, and that always sticks with me. Maybe I've just been lucky, who knows? But I often hear people say this in Germany. Families with kids are treated more warmly here than single people. And honestly, I kind of agree. Alright, let me share a couple of moments that really stuck with me. One time I was heading home from the underground parking lot with my kids. A German grandma had just walked past us, but then she turned around, came back, and held the door open for us. Now, in Germany, I know it's pretty normal for people to hold the door for someone behind them, but the fact that she had already walked past, then turned around and came back just to help us, that really left an impression on me. It was such a small gesture, but honestly, it felt so genuine. In many Asian countries like Korea, there's a strong culture of respecting elders. But in Germany, I really felt that there's a clear culture of being considerate towards people with kids. There's one moment I still remember clearly. I was waiting in the line at the supermarket checkout, and my kids suddenly started crying and fussing about something. I was flustered, trying to calm them down when this elderly German lady in front of us turned around and said something. I thought she was gonna scold us, but instead she said, "That's just how kids are, just let them be." I was honestly so surprised. It really showed me how people here are much more understanding and patient when it comes to kids making noise in public. Another time, I got into an elevator with an elderly German couple. They were standing by the door, so I thought I'd step out first. Because I had kids with me, they actually told us to go ahead. As a Korean mom, I'm so used to putting elders first, so I said, "부탁해주세요." They looked so touched and grateful. That's when I really felt how in Germany people tend to prioritize kids over elders when it comes to small acts of kindness. It's just part of their culture. I was really curious about this, so I asked my German teacher. She knows a lot about the culture. She's like that in Germany, people usually put kids first, then come the elderly, and then women. That's just kind of the norm here. I thought that was interesting. I even asked my German neighbor about it. She said, "Yeah, in Korea and other parts of Asia, there's definitely a stronger culture of respecting elders." But she also pointed out that it really depends on the setting. Like in small towns in Germany, people are usually closer, but in big cities, it can be a bit different. Another thing that really surprised me was when I was driving. A bus stopped at a bus stop in front of me, and suddenly the driver got off, picked up a passenger's stroller, and carried it onto the bus. It's something you just don't see in Korea. Of course, in Germany, it's not a legal requirement, but it's become such a natural part of the culture to help with strollers on the bus. In fact, in Germany, it's actually considered a right to bring a stroller on public transport. Buses and U-Bahns even have designated spaces for strollers. I'm not sure if it's like this everywhere in Germany, but here in Frankfurt, the subway's a bit different. There is no turnstile and the platform's level with the train, so it's super easy to roll a stroller on. I mean, yeah, it's hard to compare Korea and Germany since the infrastructure is just so different. But what really stands out to me as a mom is that here in Germany, you don't feel judged for being out with your kids. And honestly, that makes such a big difference. I feel way more at ease. Lastly, I want to talk about something that's a pretty hot topic in Korea right now. Kids making noise in public. In Korea, when kids get loud in public, moms often feel super self-conscious. What should I do? But in Germany, I've noticed people have a totally different attitude. Did you know that since 2010, Germany has a law that basically exempts noise made by children? In Germany, there are these quiet hours called Ruhezeit that are legally enforced. Usually it's night during the week and all day on Sundays. If you make a lot of noise during those times and disturb your neighbors, you could even get fined. But since 2010, noise from kids is officially excluded from these rules. From a Korean perspective, this might sound really unusual, but in Germany, kids' noise is treated the same as things like church bells, ambulance sirens, police sirens, sounds that are just part of everyday life and can't be complained about. At the time, the German Family Ministry said this law was a long overdue step in helping kids be seen as a more accepted part of society, especially in a country that's known for having some of the strictest noise regulations in the world. In other words, things like kids laughing, shouting, singing, or crying, that's just part of being a kid. It's totally normal, and we really need to accept it and embrace it just the way it is. A place where kids can laugh, play, and make a noise without it being a problem. How does it sound to you? I've just shared a few things that really stood out to me as a Korean mom raising kids in Germany. If you've noticed anything similar or totally different in your country, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Thank you.